Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Real Sports Updates here, back again, continuing our 2021 NFL preseason preview. Today we'll be covering the Denver Broncos. Um, the Broncos last season finished the season 5-11. They obviously didn't qualify for the playoffs. Um, the that 2020 Broncos team was really bitten by the injury bug. They they had injuries to all facets of their team, so that really prevented any success that they could have had last year. Um, Drew Locke was the starting quarterback. Um, he was okay, nothing special, but he was okay. He was serviceable. I know he's still a young quarterback, but going forward in 2021, the Broncos they brought in Teddy Bridgewater in a trade with the Carolina Panthers. So I think they brought him in to try to light a fire under Drew Lock. From all reports, they like Drew Lock, but they don't really believe in him 100% yet. So I think that's going to be the key for them this season. Their defense has been really good. Historically. Pretty much over the past 7 to 8 years since Peyton Manning was there. Their defense has consistently been good, and that's really been the hallmark of their team. Like in this decade, they've really been a good, really good defense. But I think they're gonna have to they're gonna have to develop Drew Lock this year. They're really he's gonna have to make some big strides. Um, or I think they're just gonna be okay with being mediocre this year, and then try to make a trade for either Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. Because the Broncos right now, as they are currently constructed, are not they're an average team. Their division that they play in is tough. The AFC West is tough. You have Patrick Mahomes. We all know what Patrick Mahomes is. Justin Herbert last year, he really showed himself to be the real deal. He's a talented guy. Along the likes of a Patrick Mahomes. Just talented. And with intangibles that you can't teach. And even Derek Carr with the Raiders, he is he's a lot of people are down on him, but he's a guy he can do everything. He can throw the ball. He's athletic enough to where he can get out of the pocket and scramble. So the Broncos are not good enough at quarterback right now to be competing in this division. If the Broncos were in the let's just say they're in the NFC East with the Cowboys and the Giants, they would be the best team in that division by far. But if you're not good enough at quarterback, you're not going to be you're not going to compete in this division, and you're not going to go to Kansas City and beat a Kansas City. You're not going to come to LA and beat a Charger team with Justin Herbert, who's fantastic at quarterback. Like you have to have a guy that's at least sort of comparable, and you got to be special at quarterback. Two of the teams in your division are now special at quarterback. And Derek Carr is. We'll see what happens with that situation coming up in the off season. We'll see if the Raiders decide to move on from him, and if they decide to try to draft and try to get special at quarterback there. But the Broncos are not special at quarterback right now, and I think that's what's going to hold them back. You can only rely on your defense so much now. This is not this current state of the NFL is offensive geared. Everything's geared towards the offense. So your defense can be as good as they need to be, but you're gonna have to construct an offense that can at least hold its head above water and can carry its own weight. To go along with the really fantastic defense. The Denver Broncos, the at coach, I think Vic Fangio. I think he's one of the best defensive minds that's ever coached in the NFL. But as a head coach, I don't know. I don't know if he is head coaching material. I know he was a guy that waited until his 60s. Like he got his first head coaching job, this coaching job with the Broncos, and I think he was like 62, 63, something like that. Kind of old for a first time coach. Especially considering now that coaches are getting younger and younger. With the McVays and the Zach Taylors and the Brandon Staley's. These guys are getting younger and younger, and he didn't get his first he didn't get his first bite at the apple until he was older. So I think he has a shorter leash. Um, I think if Denver is not able to make any noise in that division, I think they're gonna have to go another way. I think they're gonna have to hire an offensive coach. I don't know who that would be, but I think they're gonna have to upgrade that position. As at head coach, you're gonna need somebody in there who's going to develop an offense and be able to compete with the Chiefs, be able to compete with the Chargers, be able to compete with some of the best teams in the AFC. And you're going to need to do that on the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the ball. So Vic Fangio is going to be on this hot seat. You know, the Broncos have not gotten it right since Peyton Manning has retired. And they continue to struggle. They just continue to struggle. They haven't been able to put it all together. Um, they've had their shots to draft guys, but you know they just haven't been able to find that guy who's that consistent starter, the guy who's there, putting in that work week in and week out, and able to go out there and lead that team. So this is a crucial year for Drew Locke. It's a crucial year for Vic Fangio. This is going to be a crucial year for everybody in the Broncos organization. These guys are the guys on defense are getting a little bit older. I think Von Miller. I think this will probably be his last season with the Broncos, especially if they don't do anything. If they're not in the playoffs or anything. I think this will be his last year. I think the Broncos are going to want to move on from him. They're going to want to move on from that contract and get younger. There's no need to overplay players if you're not going to make any noise. You're not going to make any playoffs, or if you're not a Super Bowl contender, what's the point? So. But this is going to be a interesting season for them. I don't know. I don't think that they make the playoffs. I think that they are a good team. I think they're going to be a very, very good team. I think they're going to be a tough team to play for, some of the upper echelon teams in the league. Those guys are not going to be pushovers, just based on how good their defense is, So they'll win some games that they're not favored in, that they're underdogs in, especially in the division. I think so, just because they're so familiar with the competition. But I don't think that that's enough to get to the playoffs. I don't think Drew Lock is going to be good enough to get this team to the playoffs. It would be a pleasant surprise if he was, but I just don't think so. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is the answer either. So I think ultimately, I think the Broncos are they're just biding their time until they're able to put together a suitable trade package for either Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. I think their target, their first option would probably be Deshaun Watson, just based on how young he is, because he can, if they're able to land him, then you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Deshaun Watson in the same division, and that's a hell of a division if that was going to happen. Aaron Rodgers would be really, really good there too, but based on his age, I just don't know. I don't see the Broncos giving up the farm for Aaron Rodgers on his in his last year or last 2 years or whatever. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him. I don't think that they make the playoffs. I think they finish the season. I give them 7 wins. I say 7-10. But I don't think that that's good enough for the playoffs. Obviously there's teams in that division that are going to be better. I think the Chiefs will be better. I think the Chargers will be better. But yeah, I don't see Denver. I just don't see Denver putting it together this year. But it'll be interesting to see what they do after this season. But you know, well, only time will tell, and we'll see what happens with them. So yeah, that's the Denver Broncos. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We got much more content coming out. Like I said, we're gonna get through all 32 teams on our preseason preview. So stay tuned for more, and thank you for listening.